Dr. King's life was a little bit more than just a dream. It was reality. The man fought for not just civil rights, but human rights for everybody in the world. And all we have to do is look at the world as it is today, and we see that his life was successful. Civil rights, those definitions that I read, you read those definitions, you say, oh, this is what this is. But in reality, it's much bigger than that. Our movements were much bigger. I think our movements were encompassing, we were not, Dr. King and all those people, they weren't just looking at civil rights for us. It was for everybody. I think that it was more of a us generation. This is more of a me generation. And I am not being critical. All I'm saying is that we went out to march to change things, we. And now I tend to see just me, I'm just out here with, I'm just doing my thing. Dr. King moved to Chicago. And in '66, he was in Chicago with the End the Slum movement, housing, and Mayor Daley, Mayor Daley. And he had a rough time because a lot of Chicago is a rough town. But I spent more time there because I covered him at an event in churches. I have a great photo of Dr. King of him actually laughing. I mean, you don't see too many pictures of Dr. King laughing. I was in Gage Park. I'm talking a lot about Chicago because that's where I was during the '60s. And the day that Dr. King got hit in the head with the rock in Gage Park, one of the most scary days in my life. Because we were literally in a park, we had to go to that park, and we were sort of cut off, and there was a lot of venom out there. Now, all that other stuff was going on, Dr. King being hit in the head, people throwing cherry bombs. This is America. And so, but you have to, we kept going. That very night, Dr. King, I got pictures of him laughing and preaching a sermon with Mahalia Jackson on stage. I became sort of like a march specialist because these things sometimes happened every day. And I have this photograph of a young lady being arrested by the police. And one had one leg, one had the other leg, and one had her. It was like really brutal. And this other young lady is sitting down in the street with her 2 children sitting there watching this. And on the marquee of the movie was The Greatest Story Ever Told. That's 1968. That's the day, that's April 5th. That's the day after Dr. King got killed. That's the west side of Chicago. You see the fire hoses in the back. And I was out all day, taking pictures, all day. Shooting soldiers, shooting people, burn out buildings, because I knew that, I was in a state of shock, really. I think we all, I was, Dr. King, he represented like more than just himself, and I think he knew that. I'm not just taking photographs of myself to satisfy myself. I'm thinking about the young people, the people who weren't there, don't get the opportunity to go in the room. The camera, I said, being in the history. You're inside of the history, but you're not just doing it, okay, I'm here. But I'll be thinking about how can I share this with someone else? Once I began to take pictures and look at, but I brought this whole attitude that, hey, this is not just a photograph. This represents this event, this represents this person, this represents changing your mind.